he found this ring, a big ring, and didn't know what it was, but saw this strange writing on these strange symbols on this ring. So then he and another person walked through it to look at the other side, and lo and behold, they got into some other sphere, as if they walked into another dimension.
And this ring, so the audience knows, we're talking like what diameter?
It's probably 25 feet in diameter.
Mm-hmm.
And
the sphere was even larger than that.
Oh, as they walked into it, it was like a new world. Mm-hmm. As he explained in his diary, it was like a new world. And he couldn't figure out how he got from one place, an enclosed sarcophagus almost, into this open area.
Is this a portal of some sort?
Well, today we would call it a portal
Mm-hmm.
or a Stargate.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would refer to it today as a Stargate.
Stargate.
But back in those days, in 1928,
they didn't know.
They didn't know what it was. But when he walked into it, it was as if he was in a new world. It was an open area, plush pastures. He sees a river, which he assumed to be the Nile, and he sees almost a movie occurring, showing people building these pyramids. And he's in there, he thinks, for maybe an hour, but when he comes out, he's been there for 3 days. He's been for over 72 hours because the crew that he came with were scared. They got out of that tunnel and got out into the open because they thought that they ended up on some other side.
Or it swallowed them up.
Or swallowed them up. And so, but 3 days later, they come back out.
How many of the team went with him?
Only 2.
Only 2.
But there was 6 other team members, 8 total. And so those other 6 left, but they stayed up in the area outside where they had an encampment. And eventually, 3 days later, the colonel and his assistant comes back out, and he talks of this new world that they found, and that he knows now how these pyramids were built. He knows where they are located. He knows that there's tunnels under each one of them, and he sees these strange-looking beings, and this is in his diary, strange-looking beings that are probably not from Earth. Now, he says this in his diary, and this is 1928.
Right.
So then decide to make another camp. They had to go get supplies to come back because they only had enough supplies for, a few days or a week or something like that. But they did, and they brought more people back. This time they brought back some local people. And they tried to explain through an interpreter to these local people what they had found. And these local people didn't want any part of going down there. They seemed to be aware of maybe the rumors or the legends about this particular tunnel. But the colonel he wasn't afraid to go back.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So he went back with another person, a different person, not the same that he went the first time. So they go down there. This time they're prepared. They have supplies, they have water, they have things. Because although they saw water going through there, they didn't know if they should drink it or not. Anyways, they walk through. This time he's closer to where they're building a pyramid. He sees these strange things in the sky that are flying around with these large bricks. He's stumped. He can't understand what these things are that are flying, although during that time period there were airplanes, conventional airplanes, single engine airplanes, and in the 1920s we had them during World War I. But they didn't look like any of those type of aircrafts. And remember, he's a British colonel, and he'd been through war, and he knew airplanes. He'd been through World War I, but he couldn't understand and couldn't rationalize what these other things were.
And they're holding these giant blocks.
Right. And it's like a movie. He sees these things happening, and he watches this pyramid being built. But he also sees this underground area where there's tunnels, and there are a vast amount of people working in certain tasks down there. Some people are baking. Some people are doing some kind of a work, like a painting or a carpentry work. And then some are lying down on what he refers to as a conveyor belt. and these bodies are like moving in to this tunnel. So he's down there for about a week. He's estimating. When he comes out, now he has a story to tell. He documents all this in his diary.
If he was a week down there, when he got back, was he gone for 4 weeks? Did he say
no,
anything?
he came back and it was a week missing.
Oh, okay.
Missing time for a week. And then he goes back. He eventually gets back to the UK, and he tells his story to a society, and none of them believe him. They didn't believe him.
Not.
They didn't believe a word he said,
right.
Even though he had two witnesses, because he brought two different people, took two different people in there. So they said, no, we don't believe you. This is impossible. What you say is not feasible. But he keeps this. Now, jump ahead to 1940.